Alrighty, we're back once again, 15 episodes in. That's pretty fucking cool. 15 episodes in. If you're listening, as always, I appreciate it. We're going to talk about fantasy baseball this week because it is pissing me off. I love fantasy baseball so much. I've been playing it for a while. It's always been a fun thing for me and my dad to be in the same league, and we've played against each other for years. It's always been a lot of fun for me. I despise fantasy football. I'll say that right now. Fantasy football makes me so mad because I never play the right guys. I played a lot of fantasy football, and for me, fantasy baseball is it's bread and butter for me, I mean, my interest in football has been waning quite a bit. So fantasy baseball, I've been in the same league for, I believe this is my third year in the league. So I've been in this league for 3 years. My first year, I finished in 10th place, which was not last because the league was massive, apparently, at that time. We had 13 teams in the league, and I believe the roster sizes, even back then, were still 30 players a team. So my first year in the league, I got 10th place out of 13. 10 out of 13, not great. I remember at the end of the year, I used all my transactions that I had, and I picked up a bunch of Cardinals players, and I remember the towel was pretty much thrown in. First year in the league, got my ass kicked, handedly. Last year, I did pretty fucking good. Got 4th place. I was pretty happy. Won a little bit of money, it was good. I was pretty happy with that result. I was hoping to take a big leap this year. So this year, I started off the season, the first month plus, I was in first place by a lot. Started off great. It was fucking awesome. I knew it was not going to last forever, but, it was really encouraging. I really enjoyed that time. Thank fuck I took the time to enjoy it when I had it, and you'll see why pretty soon. So, around the All-Star break, on July 9th specifically, again, my dad's in the league too. We're in the same league. July 9th, it's during the All-Star break. It was either, I think it might have been the Sunday before the All-Star break, now that I think about it. I'm not sure, but it was around the All-Star break, July 9th, that's the day. And we sat down for about an hour, and we went back and forth, and we negotiated a trade. It was a 3-for-3 trade. Now, this is a big deal because he was in first place at the time. I had fallen off. I had gone up and down, but he's had a great year overall. But I've been up and down plenty. But at the time of July 9th, when we're negotiating this trade, I'm in second place. He's in first. He's in first by a lot. I'm not going to catch him. I'm not going to jinx anything, but he's in first place by a lot. Superstitious. Not saying shit. But he's in first place by a lot. I'm in second place. July 9th, right? We negotiate a trade. I feel very good about this trade. So I was in desperate need for a second baseman. I acquired Ketel, Marte, Anthony Rizzo, pre-concussion Anthony Rizzo, before we knew that he was playing with a concussion for the last 2 months, and Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins, who can steal a lot of bases and has great potential, but up to that point wasn't having the best year, was hurt a little bit, but still has great upside. I needed some outfield help, and he's great outfield help. So 3 players I was very happy to get. Ketel, Marte being the main attraction because I was down terribly at second base. So that's who I got. I'll tell you who I traded away. And feel free to let me know if you think this trade was terrible, because I thought this trade was great, even though I guess I'll just say it now. I'm in 6th fucking place now. I'm in 6th place now, and it's fucking horrendous how much the season has turned downward in a month and some change. It's crazy. I'm in 6th place now. I figured I'd just spit that out now. We don't need to wait for suspense. So anyway, the players that I traded. Again, I acquired Ketel, Marte, Anthony Rizzo, Cedric Mullins. 3 players I still have, 3 players that I'm happy that I have. I'll make that clear. I traded away Dylan Cease, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jared Kelenic. Jared Kelenic, first of all, he was a throw-in. He started off the year really well. I didn't really give a shit about trading him. I didn't need him. He's been terrible. My dad was fine with taking him. I even tried to get him to take someone else. He wanted Jared Kelenic, okay? That's important for later. Paul Goldschmidt was kind of tough, but I have other first base options with Alec Bohm Joey Meneses. I'll also, in the description of this episode, I'll also put my entire roster in there. I'll list it out. It'll look real nice. So it'll be down there in case you give a shit. But I'm not going to say it out loud because that would take forever. But the roster will be in the description of the podcast in case you give a fuck about it. So I had first base depth. I was okay with trading away Paul Goldschmidt because I like Joey Meneses a lot. I just picked him up. I felt good about it, whatever. And I also traded away Dylan Cease. I was fine with trading away Dylan Cease because even though I drafted him high, he was having a really fucked up year. He was not pitching well at all. And every time I started him, he was going to get railed and he was hurting the team. So I got rid of him. It came down to my dad either taking Sandy Alcantara or Dylan Cease. I kind of left it up to him. He chose Dylan Cease. So far, that's worked out well for me because Sandy's been better. So I'm happy with how that went. Now, looking back on this trade, Jared Kelenic kicked the shit out of a cooler, broke his foot. He's out for the rest of the year. That's a tough one for my dad. It didn't affect him, though. His team's stacked. Anthony Rizzo, currently still hurt. He got a concussion more than 2 months ago, and he kept playing and worsened it. And I don't think he has a timetable, last I checked. So Anthony Rizzo, still on my team, but basically dead. Ketel Marte, he's been good. I've been happy about that. Solid at second base, even though I picked up a rookie from Oakland. I think his last name is Gelof, Gelof. His name is Zack. I don't know much about him, but he hits home runs and steals bases. I'm starting to realize this is just a fantasy baseball fucking episode. So if you hate it, I'm sorry. But hey, it's a baseball show. The horizons are very broad, and this is in the baseball realm. So, PSA, I'll keep going. And Cedric Mullins, he's been fine. I don't have problems playing him. I'm happy to have him, whatever. Again, I feel good about the trade. I thought the trade was going to put both me and my dad in, great positions going forward, and it was great. And I still do feel that way. But one way or another, my team has found itself to 6th place, and I can tell you exactly fucking how that happened. It is very hard to succeed in baseball if you don't hit the ball very fucking well. You are not going to do well in the game of baseball if you can't hit the ball and then get on base after hitting the ball. My team this week has not done that very well, and I've been in a battle for 5th place. I've gone back and forth with the guy who's currently in 5th place. This is a 10-team league, 30 players on a team, in case you care. So I've been going back and forth between 5th and 6th place until Tuesday of this week, where I plummeted to 6th place. I am multiple points behind. I will not be able to catch up in one day unless lightning strikes or some crazy shit. Pigs will have to fly, basically. Some crazy shit will have to happen for me to rocket back up there in a day. This will be a multiple day grind for my team to climb up in any way now. So Tuesday, we plummet. We went 3 for 33 that day. We got 3 hits out of 33 chances. Terrible. That's fucking awful. The next day, Wednesday, 6 hits. We got 6 hits? 6 hits. We doubled the total from the previous day, right? Doubled it. But we were 6 for 39. We were 6 for 39 on Wednesday, which just planted me right in 6th place, squarely in 6th place. In case you're curious, total batting average for those 2 days is 125, and that's terrible. Terrible batting average. At the time of making the trade, I wrote down a few notes about where my team was at, because, I like doing this shit. Fantasy baseball is fun as fuck. I love it. I get so into it. I intend on starting a league next year with, that's real customized. So I'm going to have that league next year. I have a certain idea and kind of a certain vision for how it's going to be, and I think it could be pretty cool, because I enjoy this shit, this is fun. So I wrote down some notes about where I was statistically at the time of making this trade. I was 2nd in the league in batting average. I was 2nd in the league, and as of right now, I am 2nd to last. 2nd to last in the league in batting average. Haven't been hitting for shit. Haven't hit the fucking ball at all. And I blame myself, because this past Sunday I was home, and as always, me and my dad talking about baseball, And I said, you know what? I've only got one move left, as in one more transaction. I can only pick up one more new player for the rest of this year because I've used 49 of my 50 transactions. So in hindsight, I probably could have managed that better. But again, this is what I said, and I still believe it. I said to my dad, I have complete confidence in the team that I have now. If anybody's going to fucking do it, it's going to be them, is what I said on Sunday. And 2 days later, my team fell apart. The Robert Crawford fan club fell apart. We are in the basement of the league. We are struggling. I saw this going very differently. Okay, had to stop and then start over there. So yeah, this year was going very differently. Last month it was looking good, but it's been a steady decline, unfortunately. The one thing I can hang my hat on, I like my pitchers. Again, if you give a shit, you can look at the roster. It's in the description. I like the pitchers that I have. I've got Shohei, Framber, Valdez. Oh, Shohei, it was known yesterday. Apparently, Shohei tore his UCL, which means that he will not be pitching for the rest of this year, and he might need Tommy John surgery. Many, many pitchers are out right now with elbow issues of varying kinds. But holy shit, it's been an epidemic in baseball, and it got Shohei, unfortunately. It got Shohei, he can't pitch, and unfortunately it'll affect how much he gets paid next year, which sucks. It's fucking unfair. He's been going out there every day. They just got Mike Trout back, too. They just got Mike Trout back, and then they had to put him right back on the injured list right after the one game he played in. I mean, that's just terrible. But yeah, Shohei's still playing, though. He's still hitting. He's still going to DH. That game where he got removed from the first game of a doubleheader where he was pitching, he faced 5 batters and then had to come out of the game because his elbow was hurting. He finds out he has a torn UCL. Game 1 ends. Game 2 starts, and Shohei's in the starting lineup at DH. I mean, he's a fucking dog. Make no mistake about it. He is a dog, unlike my fantasy team, unlike the Robert Crawford fan club. If you're curious why it's called the Robert Crawford fan club, we had a 48-hour film festival when I was at SIU, and I wrote a script for a short film called Claw and Order, a film that we made in 48 hours, and it's about a lobster detective named Robert Crawford, and it's still one of my favorite things that I've ever done. I think it's hilarious. It's a lobster being a detective. So yeah, the Robert Crawford fan club, not doing very well. If you're listening up to this point, I appreciate you still listening. Oh, I also have to mention my buddy Chris, my buddy Woot, he let me know that he listened to episode 10. So as promised, I'm shouting him out. Again, the rule still applies. If anybody listens to episode 10 and they let me know, I'll shout it out during the episode. And as I said, I'd be very happy to tell you thank you. So again, thank you, Woot, for listening to the episode. I do appreciate it. And looking back, I'm sure I could have managed my team better. I'm sure I could have managed my fantasy team better. I got stuff to learn for next year, but I'm excited. I wonder if this is how the Yankees feel, because they've been saying all year that they believe in the lineup that they have, and they believe in all the players that they got, and they just haven't been performing. And that's kind of what's been happening with my lineup. They just haven't been hitting. I love my pitchers. I mean, again, look at my pitchers. I like my pitchers. They've been doing pretty well. It started off bad. I was really bad at pitching at the start. Now I'm a lot better. What can you do? Who the fuck knows? Also, last note before I get out of here, I turned on another random game yesterday. It was Orioles versus it was the Orioles Blue Jays. I turned on a random game yesterday. It's Orioles Blue Jays, right? Cedric Mullins. This is the second time I've turned on a random game and Cedric Mullins has done something crazy. So Cedric Mullins is up. There's a guy on first. So there's a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Pitcher throws it. Cedric Mullins fouls it off. The runner was going, so he was already halfway to second, so he has to run back to first. Second pitch, still full count. Second pitch, Cedric Mullins fouls it off again. The runner's going. Again, he's halfway to second base, has to go all the way back. That happened 2 more times. Each time the runner was going, each time Cedric Mullins fouled the ball off. The 5th time, He hit a fucking home run to right field. Can you imagine if you were the pitcher there? I would be so pissed off. What can you do? He's barely getting a piece of it every time, and then he takes you yard. How pissed off would you be? That is fucking brutal right there. Absolutely brutal. That's all I had. Again, appreciate you listening if you're still listening to this point. This was a fun one. I enjoy fantasy baseball, but goddamn, it's put me through the ringer this year. Maybe we'll finish strong. Who knows? Maybe we'll catch fire. Anything can happen. There's time left. I'll be back again Friday next week. Possible bonus episode this week. We'll have to see. I've got a list of ideas, but I got to manage my time a little bit better. I'm recording this on Friday, on the release day, which is not ideal, but I always try to be transparent about the process. But yeah, recording it on Friday. It'll still come out on Friday, but just stuff's going on. Life gets in the way. It is what it is. Again, appreciate you listening. Fantasy baseball, I love you, but fuck. Catch you next Friday.